Hello and welcome to another episode of Trailblazers Rising. With me today, I have a mutual TikTok friend who I've never actually met in real life, which is kind of rare for me, or at least met one-on-one in a call situation. So I'm very excited to welcome a fellow ADHD coach, Katie McManus. Katie, say hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're so excited to have you on. I'm sure we have a lot to gab about, so I won't even waste any more time. Let's dive right into the question on everybody's minds. What sparked your entrepreneurial fire? Was there a moment in time where you said, I can't fucking work for anybody else. I got to do my own thing?
I mean, there were so many moments. It was like a culmination of thousands upon thousands of moments. I was in sales and marketing for a really long time. And what I loved about those roles is that I got to help people. What I didn't love about those roles is that my bosses didn't understand that I was there to help people. And so,
Yeah.
the hardcore closing tactics that were really gross and pushy, they were not what I was about. I would usually overperform, but on really tough months, I wasn't going to push people to make a decision that they weren't ready for. And I'd had career coaches and life coaches throughout my 20s. And every time I finished a session with them, I'd be like that has to
Mm.
be something that I do. But I'm like, oh, but I'm in my 20s. No one's going to listen to me. And it actually took me getting in a very serious car accident. I actually had a minor traumatic brain injury where I couldn't read for a month. Like the part of my brain that deciphered what my eyes were perceiving couldn't decipher words. Like if you sent me a text message with just one line of text, I could read that. Two lines
Wow.
got very blurry, three lines or beyond, like everything just floated out of space. And I ended up having to be on leave from work for about 8 months. And
I'd
so in
imagine.
yeah, especially when you're in sales and you're constantly in Salesforce. I wasn't allowed to look at computers or TVs. I wasn't allowed to listen to the radio. If I went for a walk, I had to have earplugs in because my brain was just working so hard to heal that even perceiving or hearing any ambient noise took like brain energy away from me. And so as I was
Wow.
going through the healing process, I had been stalking this coaching school for years, and I knew that all their classes were in person and that it wasn't like a hardcore studying situation where you had to do a ton of reading. It was more experiential. And, I just decided it's now or never because I have all this free time right now. And I signed up and the rest was history.
Wow. We have a member at the Neurospicy Academy who is a survivor of a traumatic brain injury, a TBI. And not only does it hinder, or not only does it affect her, you know, for, I don't know, maybe the rest of her life, in terms of like, she has to have the yellow screen protector on her phone or on her computer so it doesn't
Mm.
trigger migraines, right? And even then, we'll be sitting on the academy on the virtual campus because she's there just about every day. And I'll hop on and say, what are you working on? She tells me what she's working on. And I say, okay, well, how are you feeling? How long have you been here? All that sort of stuff. Because she can't be there for too long. She'll push herself and be there for a long time. And then she'll need days of recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's insane. You don't realize how much work your brain is doing just in day-to-day life. And then when you're taxing it again with healing itself, you know, little things like, even having music on in the background while you cook, that can be too much. And the
Wow.
crazy thing about your brain is that it doesn't have any time, doesn't have any downtime except for when you sleep.
Yeah.
So, if you use all your spoons in one day doing all this stuff, like it also doesn't have any spoons to then heal. So you can actually set yourself back in your
Yeah.
healing journey really easily.
Yeah. I do not have a traumatic brain injury that I'm aware of, but I have taken a couple blows to the head. Just, being not graceful. I'm athletic, but I'm not graceful. And I'm sure there's a lot of other neurodivergent people that can identify with that. My brain goes so fast that it's hard for the body to keep up. How many times do you run into the furniture? It's like procipiration. There's a word for it where your body understands where it is like in space and relative to other things. So like if it's a dance class at the gym, I'm aces. I'm good at it. But if I'm just trying to get out the door really fast, I'm going to slam my hand into the door. Or I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. So when it comes to managing your executive function and managing, I get irritable from sounds. I also have misophonia. So, the sound of my dog licking a paw or like sitting there at dinner and eating with everybody. If I'm not chewing and all I hear is other people chewing, there's a rage that comes up inside.
Mhm.
And it's because your brain, as a neurodivergent person, our nervous system is extra sensitive.
Right. Yep.
So did you have, or were your doctors aware or warning you? I don't know if this is a thing, but intuitively it feels like a thing that because you're neurodivergent, your healing was going to be either a little bit more difficult or would need a different protocol?
I think at that point, there were just so many things that they were telling me not to do and there were so many things that I was experiencing with my TBI is that, there was nothing really that they wanted to incorporate with ADHD because, I was already going through so much and I was already
Yeah.
so sensitive, with the brain injury that, anything that I was experiencing previously just having ADHD, like was exacerbated times 1,000.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah, but
God,
it's funny and oh,
I
sorry.
had somebody with a stoma bag on who's
Yeah.
incredible, and then you with
Mhm.
I'm so lucky. You don't think about how many things you're taking for
Who
granted.
who did you have with a stoma bag? I think I might know her.
Jess Bruno.
Yeah, she's my social media manager. She's
Oh, right.
incredible.
I love her so much. She was
I
actually my
know.
first guest. She was
Oh,
my
no
first guest.
kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, she's my favorite. She actually is the one that told me about your TikTok account because I kept having
Oh,
like these false starts on TikTok, and she was like, you have to see this lady. She's incredible. She's so much fun. She has so much personality. And honestly, I saw your account. And I was like, oh my god, that's so intimidating.
oh no. Listen, thing. What I love about TikTok so much is that we're really just looking for a real experience. We're really
Yeah.
just looking to feel like we're sitting down having a drink in somebody's kitchen with them. Like we
Hmm.
really just want to feel included, and we really want to have to see things that resonate, or to like I have really worked my FYP to teach me about stuff and inspire me with stuff, and
Hmm.
to really keep me, I don't know what's the word that I'm looking for. I find all of my clients from TikTok, some from Instagram, but TikTok primarily. And now that I'm branching off into LinkedIn, I find myself heading back to TikTok where it's fun quite
Yeah.
often.
It's so funny because I started off in LinkedIn and I have that experience on LinkedIn. It's so much fun for me. And then on TikTok, it just feels like this different language. And it's
Yeah.
fun, but it's also like it's a different experience to interact with everyone only in written form versus
Yeah.
interacting with people in video and in the DMs and in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you're doing great. I love you've been all over my FYP. I tell you what, you've been all over my FYP. I use anything with an algorithm in life is such a great way to help you understand like your communication from the universe, from your spirit
Mhm.
guides, all
Yeah.
the signs that are out there and all that sort of stuff. Because really, once you can get into the mindset, and you know this being a coach, once you can get into the mindset that the universe is conspiring for you. Nobody is conspiring against you, or at least
Oh,
nobody that has any real influence or power over your
no.
life. So the more we can stay focused on how do I want to be feeling,
Mhm.
right? Because then you're able to tap into who makes me feel like shit. What foods don't make me feel great, So then we can really be like, all right, well, I know that I can't. I actually just found out today from TikTok. Thank you very much. I read an article, quote unquote, that I have a really high histamine response to certain foods, and that there's some foods, whether you have MCAS or the motherfucker gene or all these other, scientific medical things that are comorbidities for ADHD, especially. When I eat peanuts and chocolate, so there's these chocolate covered peanuts that I really, really like. And I don't know if you guys really, really like them, but I really, really like. And if they're here, then I'm eating them all day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It doesn't matter. I have these sneezing fit where it's like if I'm in a car, if I'm driving, I have to pull over because I won't be able to
Really?
see things, my whole body, and I feel it coming, and it's like this. It's rude. It is not a nice. Nobody wants to be around it. I don't even want to be around it. And I found out it's this high histamine response from chocolate. Peanuts can do it, so chocolate peanuts, and then all this other stuff. And I was like, this makes sense as to why I had a sneezing fit in my bathroom 3 mornings ago. And one of those sneezing fits were like all of your like nasal passages and stuff all the way through your body feel different. You're like, well,
Oh,
that was a lot of
yeah.
energy. So you being an ADHD coach,
Mhm.
I assume you're ADHD, and I have met people before that try and coach neurodivergent people, and they say they're not neurodivergent, and I find it weird. I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't
Mhm.
like it at all. So tell me about how you figured out and identified that you are neurodivergent.
Well, I think my parents figured it out when I was a kid. I was in such a
Lucky you.
now, and I have so many clients. A lot of clients who come to me, they, just recently got diagnosed with ADHD in their 30s.
Yeah.
And it's mind boggling to me that they got this far without a diagnosis. Like, there
Yeah.
just had to be someone not paying attention,
Yeah.
earlier on in their life. I also find a lot of my female clients are just getting diagnosed because a lot of the diagnostic criteria when they were a kid was focused more on how ADHD shows up in boys,
Yeah.
right? So they just didn't check the boxes, which is infuriating to me. So, and also a lot of clients who say that they're not ADHD when they start working with me. And then they start working with me and then they describe how they're getting stuck on stuff. And I'm like, common thing with my clients with me. And they're like, really? And then they start delving into the literature on it. And they're like, oh my God, I think I have ADHD. And it's funny, I didn't start being a business coach specializing in ADHD. I just naturally attracted because I was so authentic and normal about who I am out on the interwebs that I just naturally attracted people who saw that I would understand them.
Yeah. Listen, we have to naturally, especially for all of us late realized, right? For all of us that are late realized, we've been flocking together for the most
Mhm.
part, right? I can reflect back on my friends in, middle school, high school, elementary school. They were not neurotypical. All the people
Mhm.
in my life that I've ever thought, wow, they're cool. I want to be around them. They were definitely not neurotypical, right? And then anybody that I looked up to as a kid or a younger person in like real life, they were definitely neurodivergent. If the only teacher that you ever really liked growing up was the art teacher, I hate to tell you, you're probably neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I hate to tell
Or
you.
the teacher who's really like the history teacher who's really, really good at telling stories and making
Yeah.
things real for you
Yeah.
and bringing different like weirdo details alive in
Yeah.
class. Those were the teachers that I really vibed with.
Mr. Tuttle at Gulf Coast in Naples, Florida, if you're
Yeah.
listening. He also drove an old Volkswagen bus.
Oh, like in what's the movie with, not
Scooby Doo.
no, Sunshine.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. One of those.
No. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The old thing. I was like, does
Little
he
Miss
now that I
Sunshine, yeah.
think back and I'm like, he didn't live in it, did he? I hope not. Anyways, let's get this train back on the track. So, how long have you been in the business coaching game? Like, how long have you been a coach?
I've been a coach for 5 years, and I actually, like, started off as a dating coach for men. So this is the most ADHD
Hold on, you can't just skip over
progression.
that. You started as a dating coach for men.
I was living in San Francisco Bay Area, and I don't know if you know anything about dating in San Francisco, but it is I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear here. Anyway,
No fucking way. Please keep it
okay.
clean. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Anyway, so I was going through coach training and I'm like, okay, well, what problem do I want to solve in the world? And I was, currently dating and I was like, these guys don't understand. They don't
Yeah.
understand how they're screwing it up. And so I want to fix them, which isn't like a great place to start with a coaching niche. Like you don't want to go out and fix people. You want to help them become the best version of themselves. So go out and I start networking and marketing myself and I get all these people who are interested, but they're all women. And so I ended up being a dating coach for women. And then all those women, except for one, ended up wanting like leadership coaching because how they were showing up at work was directly getting in the way of how they could be in a relationship. And
Yeah.
so I ended up doing leadership coaching with them, which I'd also been trained in. And then all my coaching friends from school are like, wait a minute. How did you do that? How are you getting
Yeah.
clients? How do you sell? How do you market? How are you putting offers together? How are you putting together your back end systems? And I'm like, wait, you guys don't know this? Because I just
Yeah.
completely took it for granted that I had all this business experience that no one else
Yeah.
had. And so I started showing them and kind of tripped and fell into it. And I loved it so much more because I feel like I teach magic. I feel like I teach
Yeah.
alchemy. Like, how do you turn words into money and then do something that you truly enjoy doing every single damn day?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I kind of
Absolutely.
I tripped and fell into it, honestly. So I've been doing business coaching for 3.5 or 4 years.
All right. Listen,
Yeah.
we all start somewhere and then it'll
Yeah.
naturally progress. I, as a mindset coach, as an energy healer, and also as a psychic intuitive, my foray into running my own business was really much more intuitive based and focused more on, because I am woo woo. That is one of my titles at the Neurospicy Academy, is that I help people in the woo and woo adjacent space. But it just, when you can tap into your own intuition and when you can trust it and when you can really get your neurodivergent brain out of the state of fight or flight, fawn or freeze, and out of rumination and all of that. Because I mean, we were raised. I know I personally was raised to be hypervigilant
Yeah.
for a myriad of reasons, and I identify with human giver syndrome, which is something I've talked about in another episode, which is essentially how you can Google it. It's basically how women are raised to be hyper aware of the condition of other people around them, right? So
Yeah.
think about how you feel at Christmas time when you have the family over and the kids, and is everybody having a good time? And I am not responsible for anybody else's emotions or thoughts or feelings or action. And that has been the one thing that I have to help my clients like instill in themselves, because neurodivergent or not, if you are raised female, if you are an AFAB human being, especially in the Western world, you feel responsible for everybody around you.
100%. I'm basically describing my therapy sessions for the last 2 years.
Listen, therapy is so helpful. Somatic therapy is so helpful. Really, as a neurodivergent person, doing your research and then sticking it out of like, something is not right with how I'm dealing with X, Y, or Z. And I'm going to be the only person that can advocate for myself. And I can have a coach. I can have, a mentor, all of that will help me stay on this path. But as well as anybody else, it's your own responsibility.
Oh, 100%. And I also want to like tap in here that sometimes we know stuff because we are so in tune with everyone around us, and whether it's our intuition as female or as women, our intuition as people with ADHD, whatever. We know shit.
Yeah.
And it could be our spirit guides telling us stuff. It could be any downloads from the universe. And we live in a world where people want to see evidence why we know it.
Yeah.
They want to know like, well, how do you know this is happening?
Hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like there's just a lot of gaslighting that we do to ourselves because we're like, well, I don't know how I know what I know.
Yeah.
It just came to me. And so maybe it's not true. So let me just like shove that part of me down and not acknowledge it and don't let it breathe. And
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us who are kind of doing this work for ourselves, later in life, we're really acknowledging, okay, wow, I actually know things that the universe is just uploading to me in some way, shape, or form. And
Yeah.
I don't have to justify how I know this.
Yep. Yep. That's one of the reasons actually that I don't work with men, really.
Mm.
I have just a few times in the past as a coach.
Mhm.
And, I have in my home, it is me, my husband, my two sons, and my two male dogs. I am surrounded by men. So don't come at me and get mad at me for anything that I'm about to say. But we are conditioned as women to have to explain ourselves. And
Mhm.
men, for the most part, are conditioned to expect an explanation. So
Right.
when I have a conversation with an AFAB human being and I say, I've been a business coach for this long, I have a business degree, yada, 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 yada. That's not something that I have to explain to women
Mhm.
every single time I open my mouth, right? If I say
Mhm.
something that resonates with a woman, she's going to go, absolutely. She may go later and say, hey, how do you know this? La, la, la. But with a man, instantly it's, what do you have to back it up. Like you have to, every single sentence that comes out of your mouth, instead of them just accepting it, they're like, well, how, it's like, I'm not willing to validate myself anymore.
Mhm.
I'm not here for that. I know what I know. I've done all my research. I've done all my reading. I've done all my understanding. And I'm here now to help ambitious neurodivergent women reach their goals when things like executive function get in the way, imposter syndrome get in the way, rejection sensitivity get in the way. Because I tell you what, your ADHD, your neurodivergence, your autism, your dyslexia, anything that you have and identify with is not the problem. Not masking is your problem, and not accommodating it is your problem.
Right.
So how do
100%.
you hold on?
And
My computer's being slow. There we go. Okay. We're back. What do you have to add to it?
well, it's funny, I attract a fair amount of men to work with me, and they all have this intuition and this trust. And I think I don't know, I have a very different experience of working with men. I I don't know. I think maybe the men that I attract into my business tend to just be very open to a different way of doing things because they've seen how, the bro guys out there who are telling people how to run businesses kind of run over each other. Like they're very shame-based, they're very negative, they're very like dog eat dog, and they don't want that. They want to be in a very supportive, loving environment where, they get to be themselves and they get to be accepted for who they are in a way that, isn't really modeled by a lot of men out there.
Yeah, the concept of modeling is really transformative, especially when it comes to coaching, high achieving executive level business owners, entrepreneurs, and whatnot. Because when you transition from high masking and, low support needs, or what you
Mhm.
think are low support needs, and we have to transition you into unmasking and really supporting your needs. We do have that fear of like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to take care of everybody the way that I always take care of them. But you can continue taking care of them if you model the behavior that you expect from them.
Right.
So, when I first started this healing journey back in 2020, when, the world stopped and my mom died after an 18-month battle with stage 4 head and neck cancer, huge spiritual awakening, all the, if I could go through everything that happened to me, you wouldn't even believe it. But I said right to my kids and my husband, I said, listen, I am here for you to help you. I'll love you and I want you to succeed. But it is not my responsibility to know when you're going through something. It's not my responsibility to read your fucking mind. It's not my responsibility to constantly say to myself, oh, I wonder if they need anything. I hope they're doing it. That's not on me. So I will take care of myself to the nth degree. And so when you need my help, you can come to me and say, hey, mom, or hey, wife, I could really use your help on this. And I will have energy to give you.
Right.
But it's your responsibility to tell me, hey, I need some help. So what are some of the challenges that you help your clients get through that pop up all the time? Because I know that is a big one for my clients.
Oh, I mean, for my clients, it's a lot of shame with money, like personal shame around believing that they're bad with money, or
Yeah.
believing that, they're never going to have enough, or that, they have to be really, really conscious of everything that they invest in or spend money on because, they've had experiences where they made the wrong choice in the past. And also a little bit of what you're naming, like doing the emotional mental work for their potential client, right?
Yeah.
I have many clients in the past who come to me because they were way undercharging, right? And they were
Yeah.
undercharging because they were like, well, I feel guilty charging more because my clients can't afford more. And I'm like, cool, who told you that?
Yeah.
Who told you they can't afford more? And they're like, well, I just know. And I'm like, cool, like, let's actually go and ask them.
Yeah.
Go and ask them what they can afford.
Yeah.
You have no idea what someone's financial situation is, how much money they make. You can make a whole bunch of assumptions. I remember I used to work in the solar industry. I was basically like the cable guy who came to your house and
Oh
would
my
design a
gosh.
system. And I remember I was in a ride along. I had just gotten promoted into this role, and I was in a ride along with this guy who had been with the company for years. And we went to two different houses. And the first house was owned by this guy who is a cosmetic doctor. I can't remember exactly what he specialized in. He had all this beautiful custom furniture. It was a mansion. His wife was gorgeous, had like very well done work done on her, wearing all designer clothes. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so easy. Like they're going to close. They're going to definitely sign up for this, and neither one of them could pass a credit check because they
Yeah.
both had to declare bankruptcy twice.
Yeah.
And the second place we went to was this house where, it was 4 generations in one roof. All their furniture looked like it was from Costco. Their clothes all looked like it was from Costco, blue collar. And like this guy had the best credit score of anyone that my colleague had ever seen. And I
Yep.
got to talking to him about it. He's like, how did you get such a good credit score? And, what's your financial situation? And this guy was a multimillionaire, right? You cannot assume shit about
Yeah.
people and their financial situation. And also, we're raised from a very young age, from before we can even speak or understand what's being said, to understand the energy people carry around money and
Yeah.
the shame and the fear and the judgment that goes along with it. And I mean, when you're starting a business and when you have to start asking people to pay you dollars for the thing that you're doing, that is your gift and you're putting out into the world, you have to untangle a lot of that crap. So I spent a lot of time on relationship with money because, you're never going to be able to build a 6-figure business, a multiple 6-figure business, or a 7-figure business if you're not working on that first.
Absolutely. Scarcity mindset, lack mindset, limiting beliefs,
Mhm.
and they affect every part of your life and business, not
Yeah.
just money. It's everything. And there are ways, throughout your day and every area of your life and your business that you can start rewiring that. When you go to the grocery store, everybody knows how expensive the grocery store is, right? Everybody's aware of
Yeah.
the inflation, of the unreasonable inflation that we are, and nobody more than me with 2 teenagers in the house. Let me tell
Boys to boot.
I know you've probably already heard 2 snack sessions while we've been on this call. Anyways, it's fine. Neither here nor there. The kitchen's right there. We live in a tiny home. So, when I am sitting there dropping a lot of money at the grocery store multiple times per week, because I also have ADHD and refuse to remember to bring my list. I'm sitting there, and when I'm cashing out, I say to myself, I'm so happy, grateful, thankful, and blessed that I can drop this money and get this food and not worry about a thing. I'm so happy, grateful, thankful, and blessed that my kids can open that pantry or open that fridge. And if we're low on something that they want, they just say, hey, mom, I need more of this, and I can just go get more. Right.
Right.
So reprogramming and reframing is so incredibly important. It's been one of the most powerful tools that I can introduce into my clients' lives and into the members of the Neurospicy Academy. But there are also things to really help with organization. And I'm looking at what I imagine is an organizational tool right behind you
Yes.
and wondering if you can help us with some organization tips and tricks. Jeez
I
Louise, that was
I
hard.
want to just tell on myself. I wish I could, but honestly, I filled this out about 3 weeks ago and I've never gone back to it. Like, honestly, like I tracked my habits for 2 days and that was that week. And you
Yeah.
can see like my to-do list, like I've gotten most of this done, but I haven't gotten back to, tracking it. So it's funny. I used to do bullet journaling before I had my brain injury. And I don't know what changed, but I used to be able to map out information in a way that I'd be able to like track it and understand like what needs to happen next. I can't do that anymore. It's really
Hmm.
interesting how your brain evolves as it overcomes trauma and different circumstances. But yeah, organization is something that I really struggle with. It's something I'm really good at for my clients.
Yeah.
Like I can be organized for them. I can know how they should structure stuff. But for me, I'm way too close to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a few tools that have really helped me and they're available, in all of my links. So I have an energy optimization planner
Mm-hmm.
and I have a self-care planner because what I have found is that there's so many elements involved in how good or bad I feel, from tracking my fem cycle to the foods that I eat, to the people that I spend time with, to the tasks on my to-do list or my agenda. I'm not even calling it a to-do list anymore. It's just my agenda for the day.
Mhm.
And really assigning what times of the day, what times of the week, what times of the month, what times of the year things are going to get done. Right. So, like,
Right.
I don't want to film content at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm just not there yet. Right. And the lighting's not right in my kitchen where I film most of my content. So, naturally, it has evolved that I'm going to film content between like 12 and 2 p.m. because that's when the lighting's the best. That's when my energy is the best for it. So, to be ready to film content around those times, like when I'm done here with you, we're filming on a Sunday. I'm going to take these lashes off. I don't even have a bra on. And I'm going to go lay down and I'm going to write down in my phone, in my notes app, ideas that I
Mhm.
have for the videos that I want to make this week.
Right.
So when it comes to a routine, I hate that word. Sorry. What's your routine? Nobody wants to talk about a routine. That's gross. And you're not going to be good at it if you have ADHD because it's not going to continue giving you dopamine once you get good at it because your brain's going to go, well, we mastered that. Get to something else
Right.
that we have to master.
Right.
Really having like systems, standard operating procedures of like, all right, so when I wake up on a Monday and I haven't slept well, but I have 3 calls, this is what I do. That has
Right.
been so tremendously helpful. So how have you found your energy fluctuates based on how many people you have to work with, how much content you have to make, that sort of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, so I block out my week. So my clients can really only book on my calendar Tuesdays and Wednesdays and sometimes Fridays.
There you
Right. So
go.
I find like, stacking it that way. So by Thursday, I can kind of recover and do any admin stuff is really helpful. I also have my group program, BYOB, Build Your Own Business on Thursdays.
Love it.
I know. I love like my podcast is called the Weenie Cast. My money mindset program is called Wealthy Weenies. My whole tagline is stop being a weenie and start your business already. I
Love
love
it.
owning my own business, so I can just name shit completely weird. But anyway, so I block out my week in that way, but I also just give myself 3 every day. The first non-negotiable is visibility. And I don't really care how I show up and I'm visible. If it's commenting on 10 people's posts on LinkedIn, that's fine. If it's
Yep.
creating like a TikTok, an Instagram, and a LinkedIn post, wonderful.
Yep.
But however I choose to show up that day, I just have to like make sure that people know that I exist. The second non-negotiable is something to feed my soul and my spirit. So it could be, doing a tarot card session for myself. It could be meditating. It could be, doing some casting. It could be going for a walk with my dog. And then, of course, something to take care of my body. And so this is where I really read my energy because, I think we all get on these tears of like, I'm going to be super fit,
Yeah.
hold myself to this really high standard. And for me, it's okay. Well, if my energy is really low, then sometimes taking care of my body is a nap in the afternoon, right? And sometimes it's going to the gym and doing a cardio session and weight training. And sometimes it's just driving to the gym and walking on the treadmill for 10 minutes and driving home.
Yeah.
It's paying attention to my body and not shaming myself for not sticking to the plan, whatever the plan was.
So I have an ebook called Stop Blocking Your Success, and it is based on some of my no words that are, it's a list that you'll get when we start working one-on-one together. And because when it comes to mindset work, I was struggling with, I want to be more positive, but I don't know what the fuck that means, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I know that I'm not supposed to complain about things, but there's sometimes things are so shitty. Like, how do you not complain? Like, it doesn't feel authentic if you're going to do it, right? So
Mhm.
I have a list of words that you want to eliminate or replace. And
Mhm.
one of them, and the reason for this one word that you will very rarely hear me say, or you'll hear me correct myself if I say, is should,
Mhm.
because shame lives in should.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
And nothing good comes from you sitting around saying, well, I should have done X, Y, and Z today. Because first and foremost, how do you know? How do you know? Can you go back in time? Can you redo it? Did we not benefit at all from the choices that we made today? Because it's really invalidating to say, well, I should have done, I should have showed up more today. How do you know?
Right.
So really, what are some of the mindset hacks, especially for a neurodivergent, that you find the most beneficial?
I mean, really tuning into my intuition. I think so, in our Western world, we are trained that we have neurons in our brains and we do a lot of thinking there, which we do. We store a lot of memories there. We also have a lot of our fear based parts of our brains there. We have, our language centers, but we also have neurons throughout our hearts and throughout our digestive tracts.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but the beautiful thing about your heart and your gut is that they don't have a lizard brain. They don't have that brain that's like looking for the dangers in the world.
Yeah.
And so, what I find is when I'm getting way too much in my head and getting freaked out and getting negative and I'm starting to spiral, is I just kind of imagine like there's this ball of light that is just floating around in my skull and I draw it down and I plant it firmly in my heart and I let it just kind of like, pulse there. And
Yeah.
I might like breathe and just imagine my lungs are like, hugging my heart, just tending to it and feeding it really yummy oxygen. And I just ask my heart, what do you know from me right now?
Yeah.
And then I'll do the same into my gut. And I firmly believe that, it is very coachy language, but like your inner leader lives in your heart and your intuition lives in
Yeah.
your gut.
Yeah.
But I think as women, we really have to give ourselves credit that when we know something in our heart or in our gut, it's true.
Yeah. Your brain is not in control. Your
No,
brain is not calling the shots.
no,
You are not your thoughts. You're
no.
the observer of your thoughts. So
Hmm.
when we can detach, I found this to be most beneficial for a neurodivergent person. When you can detach from your brain and say, well, my brain wants me to think this. And then you can
Hmm.
say, well, this isn't going to help me. Right. So
Yeah,
one question I ask myself all the time is, who benefits from this?
right.
Right. So whether it's an old limiting belief or mindset, there's a lot of it in, the fitness world and the
Hmm.
wellness world, right? There's a lot of preconceived notions that really perpetuate lifestyles that are no longer something I'm interested in. So,
Yeah,
when you catch yourself saying, oh, well, I shouldn't eat that or anything like that, who benefits from you thinking that?
yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, if it's not you, then let's change up the game, because if you are the only one responsible for your well-being on this planet, it's nobody else's responsibility.
Right. And bouncing off of that, what is good and what is bad? My relationship with food is something that I have been working on over the last 10 years. And, it evolved from, well, this is good food and that is bad food to all food is good. It's all energy. It's all
Yeah.
something that if your body needs something, you can give it to it.
Yeah.
There are foods that are more nutrient dense. There are
Yeah.
foods that, have higher protein. There are foods that, have, great amounts of fiber.
Yeah.
And it's important to give your body what it needs in those capacities, but no food is bad. And the same with
Absolutely.
habits, like some may say it's lazy to take a nap in the middle of the day. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to hustle and fuck that. Like for me to be the best for my clients, I have to be alert and I have to be creative and I have to have all my faculties. If I'm too tired to do that, then I'm not useful to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's so much, what's the word? Not self-help, because that's not the term we like, but there's so much personal development information out there that is not for neurodivergent people. First and
100%.
foremost, something that I just found out the other day and
Hmm.
has changed my life is that our ADHD brain needs a level of stimulation to be able to fall asleep. And I will give you the example.
Hmm.
I saw a TikTok video from a creator. She's new to me. I don't know if she's new to the world. I wish I remembered her name. But she was talking about how if you need the TV to fall asleep, it's because it's that perfect amount of
Yeah.
stimulation that your brain, because when your brain, when your bedroom goes quiet, or you turn on the rain sounds or whatever it is, which is
Hmm.
something I was always trying to do, or turn on that guided meditation, right?
Hmm.
And you're listening to that, your brain will start stimming.
Right.
And that is what replaying all of your failures from the past 25 years. or figuring out, the life-changing routine that you're going to start tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
Or that embarrassing moment that happened like 17 years ago that you still turn red whenever you think.
Still, right? That's just your brain stimming. So if you can, and we're all told, if you want peaceful sleep, your bedroom needs to be blank and dark, and there needs to be no light, and there needs to be no sound. You put me in a fucking vacuum like that, bitch, my brain's going to go into overdrive. It's going to be like, there's something going on. Maybe something going on. What's that? Did somebody breaking into the house? Is something happening here? No. So now I just have my phone playing with I have sleep headphones that are like a headband. And I just watch one of my emotional support shows like Veep or Downton Abbey, whatever it is. And I'm just going to sleep. And when I wake up, it's going to be on. And I'm going to go, oh, it was 4 episodes of play. That was some good sleep. Let's go now. Right? Because everything else that's out there doesn't work for our brain.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that because my go-to shows are Downton Abbey and West Wing. And then I also let Audible play on my phone to like the Harry Potter series.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. It has to be something that's like calm enough, like drama enough that you get sucked into it and you can pay attention and like, but you have to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Right. You can't be worried about like, what am I going to miss? No, you have to be like, it'll be here when I wake up.
Oh, yeah. But it also can't have like big bangs and loud sounds. It has to be kind of like calm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Okay. Oh my God. I'm so glad you're here and you know Downton Abbey. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Hold on. I have to try and. Okay. So, all right. Bates on Downton Abbey. And I apologize to anybody listening if you don't know Downton Abbey, but I have to get this answered. So I figured if this was a well-known fan theory, then I would have seen it on TikTok by now. So maybe it's mine, maybe it's not. That's why I haven't talked about it on TikTok yet, because I don't want everyone to be like, he knows this. So Bates on Downton Abbey. I think he is the most incredibly selfish man I've ever seen before in my fucking life. And I hate him so much. And I'll give you examples as to why. Okay?
Please.
So when his wife, Anna, has the baby in Mary's bed, right? And then the Lord and Lady of the house come in and they say, Bates, and he doesn't say, my wife did so good. My baby is so great. La, la, la. He goes, I'm a dad now. I have a son. La, la, la. Lenny, what'd you do here? What did you do here? Really? What was your role here? You hobbled up the fucking stairs when it was all said and done? Everybody knows you're a dad. He just doesn't bring anything to the table. When he comes home from prison the second time, I think it was the second time, and they're all at Christmas celebrating, and he just takes her, like he almost puts his hand over her mouth to surprise her, and then like takes her and whisks off in the corner. My husband's in the Navy. I get it. I know what a homecoming is like, but like, he's just so selfish. Am I the only one that sees it? Please tell me.
I agree with you. But I also think it was just men of the time, because if you look at a lot of the other men in that show, a lot of them are really fucking selfish. Like Carson,
autistic, somebody in an autistic group.
But when he and, not Miss O'Brien, oh my God, Miss White, what's her name?
Hughes.
Thank you. When he and Mrs. Hughes get married and he's like expecting her to cook dinner all the time, and she has to pull that whole trick on him where she like pretends to sprain her wrist. Yeah. And then he has to cook and then he has to clean. He's so tired that he's like falling over. Well, that, and also, let's look at Lord Grantham and how selfish he is. As when the war ends, he expects his wife to then just drop everything that she was interested in and just be at his his
beck and call.
Beck and call. Thank you. That's the term.
Yeah.
And no, she has a job now and she's excited and she wants to be out in the world. And she has, people out there who see something in her.
Yeah.
Who want to value her opinion. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all the men in that show are super fucking selfish. And I think it's just a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Also, can we just acknowledge, Anna's young and hot. I'm sorry, Bates is not.
I did not understand how everybody was so okay with that. And I don't understand. And she's not a dumb girl, but they really are trying to make her play simple.
Right.
So straight. Yeah. You know what I really love about Downton Abbey so much? And I don't talk about it nearly as much as I would like to. One of the reasons that I love Downton Abbey so much is that I think it's such a wonderful metaphorical representation of what your relationship with your spirit guides are like. And so the people that live in the house, the lords, the ladies, all that, so I identify most with Mary, not surprising. And Mary has, Carson, who runs the house and is always working on her behalf behind the scenes, whether she knows it or not. And he also has opinions about how she should live her life, but he can't tell her all of those and expect her to do it because that's not his place, right? Spirit guide. Right. Anna, always at her beck and call, works directly for her, loves her, has her own stuff going on, right? So when we go to sleep, our spirit guides go fuck around and find out. They're not just sitting here waiting for us. They have their own stuff to do, but they're playing their role and trying to influence the turns that you take without being like, this is what you have to do. So, and I like that you can see it's such a good metaphor for that the universe is always conspiring for you, whether you can see it or not, right? You don't always have to go downstairs into the kitchen and see all the hubbubaloo that's happening to know that your dinner is going to arrive at 8 p.m. or whatever it is.
Right. Well, and can we also acknowledge, Mary and Edith? I mean, they're terrible to each other. They're also
why? I never understood why.
I mean, do you have sisters?
Yeah.
We didn't get along until the pandemic. Literally. It was wild. So I mean, I saw them and I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of get it. But let's acknowledge all the ways in which they fuck each other over.
Yes.
Leads to them both being happiest at the end.
Yeah.
Right? Being in the right place with the right people, having everything that they could possibly want that they didn't even know that they wanted.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't think Edith would have a career as a writer or own the magazine or, be
marry the highest ranking person in the land.
I know. She wouldn't have any of that if Mary hadn't, interfered in a lot of what she did early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God, that's
she'd
so
be
good.
married.
All right, get this. I love going off on tangents with you. And to anybody that doesn't know Downton Abbey, just go ahead and give it a watch. I didn't watch it until these past couple of years. It had been out for a very long time. And I had tried to watch it before and it just never took. And then when it did take, I can look back on what I was going through emotionally and all that. And it makes sense why it started right then and there. So, all right. So you and I together can work on a TikTok series about this is what we can do. That is absolutely.
Next, have you seen the Gilded Age on HBO?
Yes. And it only has one season and it's pissing me off. It needs to come back with another one. Thank you very much.
Coming.
Let's go.
It's coming. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
That one was a real mindfuck for me.
Yeah.
It's a real mindfuck. Relationship between old money and new money is so just gross to me. It's so gross to me that people, and, I've seen it. I've worked at a country club and, done some other stuff in the service industry. And, people that really feel entitled to things, but could never tell you like why, that irritates me.
Yeah.
Or people that feign interest in, quote unquote, the help or their employees or their staff, whatever the correct term is. People, because I saw that a lot at the country club that I worked at for a blip, like, oh, so where do you live? Do you live on the island? Do you live over there? It's like, so you're instantly trying to measure me up. Cool. Yep. Oh, do you have any kids? Like, you're instantly trying to figure out how young I had kids. How old are they? Give a shit about me. Why are we talking about this? Can we just talk as though I'm an equal? But I also have the PDA profile of autism, so I don't do well with authority.
Well, it's interesting because it actually has a lot of correlations to like old guard diagnosing of ADHD and ASD, right? Like if you talk to people who are old guard, they want to stick to all these, criteria that really don't match a lot of people who actually have ADHD and ASD. But it's because they only did studies on, hetero, cisgender men, white men, for the most part, who, were able to exhibit their version of ADHD and ASD. They never did research on how it shows up in women and young girls, in people who aren't white and people who aren't straight, and, and you see how it poorly impacts the whole world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can we talk about the fact too that the diagnostic criteria in the DSM is written from how we are experienced or perceived. It's not written from how we experience or perceive the world. So of course, if you say that it's these 100 lists of things make you autistic, but it's written not from how I experience things, but how somebody would see it in somebody else, I'm not going to identify with that.
No, not at all. Right.
Not at all.
I don't see myself as distractible.
Yeah.
I am focused. I'm probably not focused on the thing you want me to focus on, but I'm.
Yeah. That was one of the mind fucks for me too, when I was actually taking medication for my ADHD probably about 10 years ago or so. And I do believe that everybody deserves the right to take medication to figure out if it's right for them.
Right.
But I do know it's very hard to get in with doctors, to convince doctors that you need it. There's so much that goes on with it. But I remember I would take the medicine and be like, I'm going to be able to get done my to-do list today. And I still had no control over what I would focus.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, we were going to clean the house, but now I'm somehow over here, writing a thesis. Like, what are we talking about?
Right.
So I want everybody to know, it's not you don't just take a pill and everything's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your brain will quiet down a little bit and you'll be able to focus easier and for longer, but you're still not going to be in control of what that's going to be on.
Right. You could make a whole quilt, but you didn't plan on making a quilt that day. I don't know if you experienced this because I've actually have struggled to utilize ADHD meds as an adult. Because as a kid, like it really helped me buckle down and do homework that I wasn't interested in. But as a business owner who has utilized all of the ADHD strengths and the creativity and the ability to connect all the dots in all these wild ways, whenever I take meds, like all those voices go away. I don't have access to them. I tried
Yeah.
taking those. I'm in the middle of writing a book. I've been in the middle of writing a book for forever now because I just can't finish it. And I tried taking my meds one day and it completely quieted all the voices and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. I stopped taking it because it turned off my creativity. And I was like,
Yeah.
would I rather have a clean house easily or easier than I ever had before and not have my spark? Or would I rather have my spark and figure out how I can keep a cleaner house?
Yeah. Which,
You know?
I mean, to your point, the DSM-5 is acknowledging how other people are experiencing us. The medication they're giving us is making us easier to be experienced by other people, not making our experience better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that self-diagnosis is incredibly powerful. And here's the thing about self-diagnosis to anybody who is either gaslighting themselves about it or is experiencing any sort of pushback from the people in their life. When you get the flu or you get a cold, you self-diagnose and then go to the doctor for medicine. And then, you get a cold, you go to the doctor, you say, hey, I got a cold. They're going to, probably swab you or whatever to make sure it's X, Y, or Z and know what the course of action is going to be. But like, it's the same thing with a sprained wrist.
Right.
You had to have the idea first and say, something does not feel right. Something is going on here. And then not for nothing, I did an episode with Dr. Alicia, who is a naturopathic doctor. And she had explained there was another doctor that she really looks up to. And I could remember her name and find it in this book in front of me, but I'm not going to. And she really discusses how a medical doctor is there to keep you on the line of fine, right? So if you have a disease, you go to a medical doctor, right? They're not the ones that are responsible for you to thrive. Right. That's naturopath. That's getting your Dutch test. That's getting your blood work. That's getting it from, oh, well, you look in the normal range and the normal range is 200 points. And you're like, I still have a problem though. Right. So really recognizing and advocating for yourself and doing your research. I'm a huge proponent of supplementation for ADHD. And I have a whole list of supplements that I have researched and that I take every single day and really help me. Because again, like you said, the voices, they're not always bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
The spark and the creativity, it's needed when you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
And
especially when you're
as
an
much as anybody else.
entrepreneur, especially when you're an entrepreneur supporting other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
can't
And I mean,
get by without that spark.
you can't because marketing, right? I saw somebody else say this on TikTok, so I hope I don't butcher it. But like marketing for an entrepreneur is everything. It's your relationships, it's your sales ability, it's your social media. But like marketing is what you're doing from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep.
Right.
It really is. And if you're not getting that messaging right, if you're not authentically showing up, right? And that also goes the other way around of knowing when to not show up.
Right.
If you're tired, baby, don't try and go live and don't try and make fun, upbeat content if you feel like shit because people are going to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer that, words carry energy, and so who do we attract when we're, saying the word, but with the wrong energy? We attract like really dissonant people who aren't the ultimate great fit for us.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so in love with you. I'm so glad you're here. All right. Before we get to the lightning round of fun ADHD related questions, I'm going to have you plug your spot and tell everybody listening where they can find you, where they can follow you, and what all of your offers are and how they can work with you.
Yes. So you can find me at katiemcmanus.com, KATIEMCMANUS.com. You can also check me out on the weeniecast.com. My podcast is specifically for those of you who are starting businesses and need to know all that you need to know and you're not sure what you need to know. I talk about all of it there. And what else do you want me to say? I forgot.
What your current offers are, how they can work with you.
Yeah. So I basically work with beginner business owners. So if you're wanting to build your own business, you can check out BYOB, and that's all on my website. And I train everything in a way that is very ADHD friendly. My pet peeve is those online courses that are 40 fucking minutes long, each video. And it's all just like fluff. It's the person talking about their life story and like what their dog, Pogo did,
Yeah.
one time and taught them this lesson. It's like, fuck that. No, teach me, teach me what to do and teach me how to
Yeah.
do it and have me go do it. So everything that I do in that program is like that. Here's what you need to do. Here's why you need to do it. Here's how you do it. Go do it. And I
Yeah.
do group coaching with that program as well. And I've just
Good.
recently wound down taking one-on-one clients. I'm full at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. We love that. Yay. All right. All right. So, and everything will be linked here for everybody to go straight to. So, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready. Bring it.
All right. And these are just stream of consciousness. We're not going to
Okay.
overthink them.
Great.
First and foremost, what's your favorite social media platform?
LinkedIn.
Ugh. All right. We'll talk about it afterward. I need you to spark that joy in me.
We'll talk.
I've been trying so hard. It did not. I'll get there one day.
I think you have to have like cool people that you're interacting with. So often people get into this vortex of people who are just boring.
Yeah.
You have to get connected up with some interesting
How do you
humans.
find cool people? What are you searching on
I'll
LinkedIn?
I'll send you some people.
It doesn't make me any like and I'm like, I know how to use social media. I was around since MySpace. Like, what are we talking about here? It's not a hard thing for me to understand how to navigate a platform, but it's just like it's so many people on LinkedIn that are reaching out to like just instantly try and sell you. And I'm like,
yeah, I hate that.
I don't even know who you are. And I have the PDA profile. Like if you email me, hey, I looked at your website, but it could be better. Or you email me, hey, I looked at your Instagram, but it could be better. I will fuck it.
No.
The first thing I say to somebody when they talk to me like that is I go, what are we getting at here? I say, what's the end goal? What's the end goal? Because I'm not gonna fucking be here for that. So all right, if you can give me the tips and tricks, we'll talk about it after. All right, second question. What is the most recent rabbit hole you've gone down?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Other than task tracking behind you.
Yeah, right. I didn't, as you can see, I did not go deep into that. It's interesting. So I'm actually going into a lot of rabbit holes recently of the female experience, specifically sexually. So like, in history, whenever women misbehaved, it was called hysteria, right? And there's just been all these fucked up ways that people have been telling women that there's something wrong with them for forever, when it's just how our bodies are. It's just us, humaning with other humans, and it just didn't make the other humans happy. I'm also obsessed with the fact that they didn't fully map out the clitoris until like I graduated high school. It was 2007. That's when they finally mapped out the clitoris, like this major part of the female human experience. Like they mapped out the penis. They mapped out.
Of course they did. Who was doing the mapping?
Oh my God. Like I'm really deep into that. Not to, not intended. I've been going down that particular rabbit hole. Yeah.
Listen, first and foremost, I read an article. I saw a TikTok. And this guy, it was one of those, they're filming a bunch of people. It was a questionnaire sort of thing, 5 against 5, that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And a guy was like, well, I just feel like men take on the most dangerous roles. We're the most people that, are in the army, and we're the most people that are in the police, and la, 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 la. And we really have to. And this woman, she had the best fucking answer. And she said, who created that system? So first and foremost, don't come at me, bro. All right. Yeah. Third question. And we've kind of already talked about this a little bit. What is your emotional support show?
Ooh, okay, so West Wing, especially the first 5 seasons. The later ones, like they're on the campaign trail, that kind of stresses me out.
Yeah.
Big one. Gilded Age. Again, like where they're having like calm conversations and the drama is playing out in the conversations. Yeah. Those are my top 3.
So I'm going to really encourage you to watch Veep.
I've seen it. I've seen parts of it. And here's where I struggle is there are moments that like I experience embarrassment for other people. So
I hate secondhand embarrassment too. Yeah.
Like, there are moments where I literally have to like get up and like walk away and be like, no. Like I can't watch Bridget Jones' Diary, The Office. I really want to love The Office. There are some really fabulous, funny moments. And I can't do it. I can't do it.
Sexist too. I can't do it.
It is, yeah. If you haven't seen Jury Duty, that just came out on Prime.
I can't take that on. I can't take that on. I feel so bad for the boy. I feel so bad for him.
Oh,
no.
I mean, really?
It's so fucked up that they would do that to anybody.
Yeah.
That makes me so like they put James Marsden in there. I can only imagine what my brain would be saying to me if they expected me to believe that James Marsden was just going to do like I would, it would just hurt me so bad. I just can't watch it. I think it's like, fair. I get it, but like the clips I see of the boy's face where he's like, and I recognize that emotion. I'm just like, no, I couldn't. I absolutely can't. But like, For Veep, what I really like about it is that there's so much neurodivergence baked into
Mhm.
it. And I
Yeah.
can just see like the Julia Louis-Dreyfus, her character is the most ADHD person I've ever
Yeah.
seen without a diagnosis in my fucking life. And
Mhm.
the way that she handles or mishandles in certain situations, misreads certain situations and that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. But because everything is stacked for her in her favor,
Right.
it all ends up working out. But like the intermingling of their relationships and stuff too. I
Yeah.
like neurodivergent coded characters, right? So
Mhm.
I like to be able to be like, okay, well, this person, this
Yeah.
person, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. But I get it. That's not for you. It's not for you. I am going to get
Yeah.
into the West Wing though, because you're
Yeah.
not the first person to talk about it in these past couple days with me, and it's an older
Yeah.
show, so I know that's a sign. All right. Have you consumed water today? And do you want to share your emotional support cup with the class?
This is my emotional support cup. I will get one of these a week until it gets gross. And I know you're supposed to get like, and this is the programming that the world has done to me. I'm an environmentalist. I care about the world. I don't want, unnecessary plastics. And yet I can't drink water unless it's out of like a bottle that's particularly this size that doesn't
Sensories.
have BPA. And I reuse it as much as I can until like the water really starts tasting gross.
Listen,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
happy for you. I'm happy.
Yeah, this is it. Essentia, you know? So buy
As long
one
as
a
we
week.
get the water in,
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Listen, you buying one of those a week is better than however often I remember to clean my straw.
yeah.
Not for nothing. So no judgment here. I'm just glad that you're getting your water in.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then your last question, what is your current dopamine snack or meal?
Ooh, okay. So my current dopamine snack, my current dopamine meal is these protein waffles from their Birch and Bender. They're like, 2 waffles is like 12 grams of protein. I get really stubborn about eating in the morning. Like
Yes.
I wake up and I'm hungry, but I get bitter about the fact that I have to go and do something. I have to go and
Demand.
like take action, and then I have to chew it and I have to swallow it. And
Oh.
this is like the easiest thing that I've been able to figure out. Just pop it in the toaster and then you just like eat it with your coffee and it doesn't taste like anything. I don't know if you experience this, but anything that has too much flavor in the morning like is overwhelming to me. I
Yeah.
can't have anything that's too salty. I can't have anything sweet. I need something that just has no flavor whatsoever and has no work attached to it. That's my dope meal. And then dopamine snack. I mean, I'm kind of coming off of one right now. So I was
Oh, that's the worst when you
know,
don't have a replacement on
I
deck.
know, I know. So I'm like kind of cycling through what my old ones were, but the one that I'm cycling off right now was like a bowl of berries.
Okay.
Specifically raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries together. Because I kind of like
Yeah.
how the tart and sweetness kind of cycles through. And I mean, like you have to have the
Yeah.
raspberry first, and then you have to have the blackberry, and then you have to have the blueberry, and then you could just kind of have to
Absolutely.
go around that way.
I'm firm believer,
Yeah.
and I sometimes I can't fuck with blueberries because you never know what you're gonna get.
Right. Yeah.
You never know. If I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
tart mood, I have been very pro grape lately, and I'll just wash
Yeah.
them and put them in a bowl with a little paper towel underneath them, and then
Yeah.
not even cover them. So every time I open up the fridge, I can just grab a couple and keep it moving. I will
Yeah.
tell you, as a person who is just now finding out like the difference between like an ingredients household and not an ingredients household, and the stigma that comes along with it, I would take it a step further and say we are a dopamine meal household. So lately, I've done some weird stuff like the Publix brand garlic bread that's almost like the Texas toast, but they're not as big, right? So, like the
Mm-hmm.
slices of garlic bread that you can either
Yep.
get with the stuff all over them or with the cheese on one side of them, right? You can put them in the air fryer and then cook them until they're good and crispy. It only takes like 10 minutes total with the preheat. Not that I have this all memorized or anything. And then to get my protein, I put cottage cheese on them and a little bit of avocado and
Mm-hmm.
like some sesame seeds and some salt. And I just go to town on that. But because it's a thick, crunchy bread, you can put a lot of that soft, mushy stuff on there, and
Right.
you're full for hours.
Right. Right.
Hours you're full,
Yeah.
right? And then I've also learned recently, and this is something I just tell anybody that's willing to listen about avocados. The avocados with the big pit are the round ones. The ones that are pointy are the ones that have a tiny pit because it's the female and the male one. So
Right.
when you're getting your avocados, you got to get the oblong ones, not the rounder ones, or that's
Right.
why you're going to end up. Because I've seen some pits before that I was like, I just feel like there's not even any meat in here.
No, it's all pit.
Yeah, and it's frustrating
Yeah.
because you can't eat that. I mean, you can if you like blend it up like that. I'm here for the the meat,
Yeah.
right?
Have you done the everything but the bagel shake from Trader Joe's?
Not specifically from them, but everything but the bagel is usually too salty for me. I have to just
Okay.
use individual ingredients because I like
Yeah.
my salt, but
Right.
not if that's like the only, or there's like a lot of onion in them. And I'm like, I
So
like my seeds. That's for sure.
fair. So for anyone who likes avocado toast, like Dave's Killer Bread with avocado on top, that, and then if you want to add a little more protein, like a soft boiled egg on top, oh, it's to die for.
Yeah.
That might
Remember,
actually be
everybody,
my new dopamine thing, my new dopamine
listen,
meal.
take a picture on your Instagram and tag me in it, and then you
I
can
will.
thank me for it because I'm headed to a new dopamine meal myself, and I just have to
Mhm.
figure out what it is. Today, actually, recently, I've been doing grits or polenta with cottage cheese
Oh,
put
yeah.
inside of it because you can't even really tell it's there, and it's like
Mhm.
gonna pack all the because I need my carb. That's it.
Same.
I'm not doing no carbs ever again, and now I
No.
understand that carbs just need some protein and some fat, and everything's kosher. Easy
Mhm.
peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. All right, Katie. No, go ahead.
No, when did we decide that carbs were bad? Our brains need them. Our
Keto.
brains
Keto did it
literally
for
need
me.
them. Okay, got it.
Keto did it for me.
Yeah.
Keto did, and from like 2017 to probably about 2019, keto
Yeah.
really did me in. And listen,
Mhm.
you got to know what works for you, right? Because
Right.
if there's histamine in food, that may be interacting with you, right? Some people
Right.
need the FODMAP diet. Some people need this. Some people need that. It's your responsibility to fuck around and find out and figure out what works best for you.
Right.
And we have hopefully you have the time and the freedom to do that. If not, hit up me or hit up Katie McManus over here to coach you into the lifestyle and business that will apply you with that ability.
Lifestyle to Melanie. I'll take the business. I don't like the lifestyle bit.
I have it's too, but lifestyle is intertwined when you're an entrepreneur.
100%. But I would rather prefer my clients get their lifestyle stuff from someone else because we do so much business building in my work with them
Yeah.
that I only want to focus on that. I
Yeah.
feel like it distracts. Yeah.
The new business owners and the new business starters,
Yeah.
I remember the concerns that come with that
Oh,
area.
100%.
And it's so lovely because they still, it's like the difference between college football players and professional football players. There's just
Mhm.
there's a different drive in them.
Yeah.
That's just like, oh, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. And, when you're doing what I do and you're taking somebody from on the rise to super well known, that's a whole
Mhm.
different
Oh, yeah.
ton of issues,
Yeah. Well, there's mindset for being seen, but then there's like, oh, well, how do I manage my workout and
Yeah.
my relationship with this? Like that is welcome in my sessions, but I find that sometimes that becomes a delay tactic to not
yeah.
do the work in the business. They're like, oh, well, I'm having this disagreement with my friend. Let's just talk about that. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, you need other support then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. There's so
Yeah.
many great ways to get support nowadays. And we
Yeah.
have access to so much more support. If you simply know where to look and you stay, consistent with it of like, I deserve this.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, Katie McManus, I love you so much for being on the show. And thank you for being here. And I can't wait to pick your brain about LinkedIn and other stuff as soon as we stop recording.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Love you guys equally and for different reasons.